Hello and welcome to my 2025 reading journal setup. I sure did a square archer in olive and green. This year I'm doing a B5 in this maroon with these really pretty frames. I'm very excited about this one. Okay, so the first page that I have is just my title page. I used some washi tape, papers, and stickers, and then I just stamped out 2025 reading journal. And then I also used my HP Sprocket printer to print out some personal pictures from my Bookstagram to put in it, just to personalize it a little bit more. So that is my title page. Then we have my books read spread. I did a much more simplified version this year with my books and some trinkets. And I will write in on the spines the titles of the books I read. I can't remember exactly how many books are in this. I don't think it's the same as my Goodreads goal. I think I may have a couple extra here. And then we have my Goodreads goal. This is a whole lot of whiteout because I just realized that I skipped a number all the way up here. And so I had to white it out and restamp them. But my Goodreads goal this year is going to be 80. So I will color them in as I read. Then we have my days read. This has the months at the top and then all the way down to 31 on the side. Normally I do this in my monthly spreads, but I'm changing it this year. And then I left a room to total up how many days each month I read. So I normally track this, just not in this way. And then we have my yearly stats, which I did last year. This one is slightly different. So I have the months here and then pages, books, 5 stars, ebooks, audiobooks, physical books, library books, series or standalones, and rereads. Last year I did arcs, but I literally didn't read a single arc last year, I don't think. So I left that off because I just haven't been requesting them. I don't have time. Alright, next up is my anticipated releases. So I just made calendar boxes for each of the months, and then below it I am writing reads that are coming out. These are all the ones I'm super excited about already. So I went ahead and put them down, like Onyx Storm, Variables, The Midnight Soil, and then as more books get announced for release dates, I will add them here so I know when they're coming out. Then we have my series tracker and my genre tracker. Series tracker I've done before. These are everything that I either own or have already started. So the little slash marks are where I'm at in the series, and I'll just keep coloring them in as I go. A couple of these are books that I have the first in the series, I just haven't started them yet, but it's the same as I did last year. I have never done a genre tracker like this before. I normally just track it in my individual spreads and my monthly spreads, but I did want to try this out this year. So I have fantasy, romance, horror, mystery, thriller, young adult, nonfiction, literary fiction, historical fiction, classics, and I left space blank because I'm not really sure what I want to do with this. But there's a lot of boxes because if it's a young adult and a fantasy, it'll go in both boxes. So this will be interesting. Very different from what I normally do. I normally just do it in the monthly, and I hated the way that looked, so I just did one big spread this year. Next is my backlist. This is the exact same as last year as well, except for obviously I took out the books that I read last year, but we still have Cassandra Clare, V.E. Schwab, Rick Arden, and Brandon Sanderson, and again this is just the Cosmere books, to keep it kind of simple. And then I just have it as the date finished, my star rating, and I need to go in and fill this part in, but it's like this what series it is and what number in the series it is, a spot to put that. Unless it's a standalone, then it just gets a slash mark. Next, we have my 2025 book bracket. So there's one slot for every month. You put your favorite book of the month, and then it helps you narrow down until you get to your favorite book of 2025. I really like using this. It really helps me think about which books were my favorite in a month, especially if I have multiple 5-star reads or no 5-star reads. I really have to think about what book I want to put here, and then narrowing it down is extremely difficult for me, but this helps a ton. Then we have my 5-star reads and my 25 in 2025. Last year I gave my 5-star reads 2 pages, and I didn't even fill up half of 1 page. So I decided to narrow it down this year. I will print out the pictures and put them in here as I have 5-star reads. I'm hoping it's more this year than it was last year, because last year I just literally had no good 5-star reads. And then for my 25 and 2025, these are 25 books I want to read this year. So we have Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, Starless Sea. I think I had that one on here last year and I didn't get to it. Bone Season, Can't Get Enough, Taylor Jenkins Reid's new book, Atmosphere, Chain of Iron, Two Towers, Tempest of Tea, Sky Beyond the Storm, Golden Sun, Scythe, Bear and the Nightingale, Sunrise on the Reaping, very excited about, Fire Endless, One Golden Summer, Fragile Threads of Power, Serpent in the Wings of Night, Oathbound, Zodiac Academy 6, Fated Throne, Hero of Ages, Touch of Chaos, Onyx Storm, Lady Macbeth, and Wicked. So a lot of these are new releases or like the ending or following in a series that I've already started. So normally I have enough room where I can put the star ratings underneath, but there just was not room on this page for that after I'd already done this. So I'm either gonna like outline around the ones that I've read, or I'm going to do something with washi tape to mark off the ones that I've read. But I just printed these off with my HP Sprocket. I did like the 4 picture collage and then cut them out and pasted them in. Super easy. Like, that thing is the best thing ever. I'm so glad that I don't have to use my printer anymore to do these. Then we have the alphabet challenge. I did this 2 years ago, but I'm going to try it again. It's very difficult when you get down here, I think. But I just stamped out A through Z, and then I will fill the title in for each of them. So Onyx Storm will probably be my O because I'm reading that early in the year. You kind of get the gist. Then I made a little section for books that are recommended to me. So there's not that many of them, but on each of these I'll write in the book and who recommended it to me, to keep up with some of that, because I do have people sometimes recommend me books and then I completely forget about it. So here's a place just to put a couple of them and then remind myself to read them. Then we have my embarrassment of a physical TBR. This year I actually numbered them, and last year I made check boxes, but it just was so plain. So this year instead, when I read it, I'm just going to highlight it in the same color that I used for my physical TBR, so that it gives it a little bit of color to the spread. And I also did a Dutch door with this to continue onto the back. I'm not sure if these are all of them, because I may have more in my pile over there that I didn't think of. I just took my physical TBR minus everything I'd read last year for my reading journal last year, and then basically went through my book haul videos to figure out which books I now had that I had not read. And then my last like yearly overview spread is a books bought. I've never done this before, but I do want to track my spending. So I have a slot for the date and then a place to put the title and author of the book so that I know when I bought it, to try and lower my spending, especially because there's a limited number of space here. So hopefully, and I don't know if I'm going to add like I bought it with a gift card or if this is just like purely my money. But I'm hoping this will prevent me from buying and, you know, cut down on this. And then the very last thing is my setup for January. I did disco balls like 2 years ago, but I still think that they are cute, so I did them again. I also think blue is perfect for January. So we're going with a little disco ball-y theme. It just screams like New Year's to me. And then I just put January here in like these same colors. And I always do a TBR for the month. This is obviously more books than I will probably read in the month. And I know I'll end up reading books that are not on this and not reading some that are on this. So they have check marks, but it's really just a spot for if I don't know what to pick up, I can look at this and say, okay, which one of these should I just grab? And then I do normally keep up with stats. I normally give it its own page, but I'm not doing that this year. So this one just has rereads, pre-owned, borrowed, bought pages, minutes if it's an audiobook, and then how many days in the month that I read. Just a little overview. And then this section is for me to write down the books that I read. I like to do this because sometimes I read a book that was not on my TBR, and so then it still keeps track of it. And obviously I'll do like individual spreads, but I just like to have it all in one place. And then this is completely different for me. Last year I used calendars for like keeping up with social media, but I literally just did not use it, so I'm not doing that. But I am keeping a calendar because I saw a girl on Pinterest, I mean obviously she's not from Pinterest, but I saw it on Pinterest where someone had a calendar and they used different colored highlighters for each book they read in the month, and they marked the start date and like did a line until the end date of when they read it. And so each highlighter was a different book, and you could see like when you were reading different books and if anything overlapped with audiobooks in the month. I don't know. I thought it was really cool. So I'm going to do that. I think it'll give it a little bit of pop of color as well. Just have the highlighted lines drawn in. But for now, that is just literally all I have in my reading journal. I can't wait to get started because 2025 is in like 2 days. So I am hoping this will get me back. I've been in a very big slump. I'm literally struggling to read my last book of 2024. So I'm trying to finish that, and then we're going to start bright and early with the 2025 book, and then I will finally be able to start filling this out. So yes, I'm very excited for my new reading journal. A new journal is always the best. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.